In this video, we're going to continue our discussion on notating for the rhythm section, and specifically what we're going to do is talk about enclosures. Now, enclosures get added to tempo markings and technique texts. We'll specifically use enclosures for technique texts very commonly when we notate for the drum set. But without getting ahead of ourselves, let's start by talking about how to create a proper looking tempo marking for a commercial music score. So we can see here that I have a tempo marking that says folk-like quarter note equals 120. Well, there's a few issues with this. It should have an enclosure around it, first of all, and secondly, it should be all capital letters. And we can see here that there's a capital F and then, lowercase o, l, k, etc., but it should be all capital letters. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete that, and we're going to make this look like it should. So go to the little mezzo forte icon that you see in your main tool palette. That's called the expression tool. Click on it, and then double click over a measure. Now what we want to do is go to tempo marks here. Now I've already got most of the information I need, so I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this thing that says folk-like quarter note equals 120, but I'm going to edit it. So I'll click edit, and now that I'm here, a couple of things to note. For most people who are watching this tutorial, this is probably checked, right? It's probably going to look like this when you open the Expression Designer window, where it will say Use Tempo Marks Category Fonts. Uncheck this box, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this. I've already got it unchecked for this tutorial, and I'm going to click to the left here. Now I'm going to press the open bracket key on my computer keyboard. Then I'm going to highlight all of this and hit my caps lock and type folk-like. And then I'm going to backspace over in between the F and the O. I'm going to hold down Option and press period. What this is going to do is allow me to add line extensions above the words. And I'm going to keep doing this until I get to the end. Now, at the very end, I'm going to close this enclosure by pressing the close bracket key on my computer keyboard. Perfect. That's how it should look. I'm going to hit OK, and then assign, and that's a proper looking tempo marking. We can see that there are other places in my score where I need to add enclosures, and so let's go ahead and take a look at some of those. If we scroll down here, this says cajon and or shaker, but it should be in an enclosure. It shouldn't be in parentheses. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. And I'm actually going to grab the staff tool first to make a little bit of room. So the staff tool, again, is the one with the treble clef. I'm going to click here and just drag down a little bit to make some room in between the bass guitar and the percussion. I'm going to drag the first violin up. There we go. I just need a little bit of room. I'm going to grab the text tool, and I'm going to delete this. And now again, I'm going to go to my mezzo forte tool, double click over the measure, and now what I want to create is a technique text. And I'm going to choose create technique text, and I'm going to write cajon, and all lowercase this time. Or shaker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the open bracket. Again, option period. Get to the end of the word and close the bracket. I think that's also a little bit on the small side. I'm going to uncheck this box and make it all size 14. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let's try 18. Let's see what that looks like. That might be a little too big. So we'll go with, let's try happy medium. Choose 16. Okay, assign. Perfect. That's what we want to do. With the drum set part, a lot of times you'll see, whether it's drum set or percussion, you'll see instruments indicated with an enclosure around it. So that's very common. And what's really common is that the tempo markings will be all capital letters, and that the technique texts and the instrument texts, things of that sort, will be lowercase. So now let's go to my solo section because enclosures are also used to indicate solos. So what we have here is an overcomplicated way to give instructions for a solo section. This is too much. We don't need to say all of this. We can make it much simpler. Commercial music notation is about keeping things simple and easy to understand and making it sight readable. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this text. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the expression tool and I'm going to create another technique text. And I'm going to do this in all caps as well. And I'm going to make it size, let's make it size not quite as large as the tempo marking, but let's make it size 20. Okay, and I'm going to write solo section. Same thing as we were just doing before, open bracket, option period. Done. There it says open bracket. Or excuse me, there I closed the bracket. Sorry. There it says solo section. I'm going to assign that. Now I need to redo this tempo marking. So I'm going to duplicate it. Come in here. This should all be capital. Folk, rock, ballad. Same routine. Open bracket, option period. To add the line extension. Close bracket. Oh, not quite enough. There we go. Nope, that's too much. That should be fine. We'll hit OK. We'll assign that. There we go. This looks correct. Now what we're going to do is we're going to indicate who's going to solo and who's going to comp. So let's go ahead and say that the guitar is going to comp. We'll double click again with the expression tool. We'll create another technique text and we're just going to write COMP for comp. This is going to be, again, that's going to be a little bit too small at that size, so let's make it size 16. Okay, open bracket. Probably only going to need one option period. Yep, only need one. Close bracket. Good to go there. And now we're going to say that the percussionist and the violinist are open for solos. Those two can go ahead and take a solo if they want. So now let's do this. Double click over the measure. Let's go ahead and create another technique text. Size is going to be 16 once again. I'm going to hit open for solos. That means this person can solo, but this person can also choose not to. Same deal. Open bracket, option period all the way through. Done deal. And there we go. Now we've used enclosures for this. So we've used enclosures to indicate the solo section. We've used it to indicate who's comping. We've used it to indicate who's open for solos. So now we're really starting to get into the practice of notating for the rhythm section in a commercial music sort of style. Go ahead and check out the next video where we'll dive into the drum set and how to notate for that within a chart.